So without further ado, I would like to introduce Thommy Lukebolig. He is a world-renowned martial artist, internationally recognized keynote speaker, writer, and author. He is an international instructor of military and police units. Today, Thommy will talk to us about how strategies from ancient martial arts can be used to take businesses to the next level and how to knock out COVID-19. Thommy, please.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Well, first of all, hello, everyone. Let me just share my screen with you so we can jump right in. So I hope you guys are able to see my screen right now. Okay, so welcome to this part of the webinar. My name is Thommy Lukebolig, or Sifu Thommy. Sifu is a martial arts specific term that we use within Chinese martial arts, or Chinese Kung Fu to be specific. I've been involved in the martial arts business for almost 30 years, and today, before you ask yourself, oh my goodness, why should I want to listen to this martial arts guy? I want to look for technology. I want to look for ways to get my business out of the crisis or to take it to the next level. Bear with me, I have you covered today. I'd like to share some very effective strategies from the Chinese martial arts with you that you can use to accomplish exactly that. So let's jump right into it. Changxin Dou Ying sounds very Chinese to you, I guess. It sounds very Chinese to me as well. What it actually means is face the center line. And what we mean by that in the martial arts is that when we face an opponent, we want to face him frontally. Imagine if you would face somebody sideways, then you're only going to be effectively able to work with one arm and with one leg. So we want to make sure that we can play out to our full potential, because this gives us a chance to use both of our hands and both of our legs to fight the opponent off. Now, in a business context, this could mean that we don't hide from a difficult situation. And boy, what a difficult situation most of us are dealing with at the moment, but we want to face it boldly, because facing the problem gives us the chance to find creative ways to overcome it and even to thrive in a difficult time that most of us are facing at the moment. From a martial arts viewpoint, there are three areas of a successful defense. The first one is that there are areas that we have to protect in our life, in our business, of course, also in a fight. Then there are areas that we have to pivot in a crisis in order to be able to survive this crisis. And then finally, there are areas that, well, where we just want to attack, where we want to go for it, and where we want to make sure that we can finish off the fight or the difficult situation in our favor. Let's take a closer look at number one, protect. In order to survive this pandemic or, well, any crisis for that matter, there are areas that we need to protect, and we have to protect the most important aspects of our business. What are those? I'm going to go into those in the following slides. Then there are situations that I'm pretty sure don't work as well for you in your business at the moment as they usually would. So sometimes we are forced to adapt and to pivot certain areas in order to still be able to do something in these difficult days and in order not to have our ship sunk. So then thirdly, we have to come back strong. This is where we have to find ways to attack in order to thrive even in times of crisis. So let's take a look at part number one. What are the areas in your business that you definitely want to protect? Well, first of all, quite obviously, it's our finances. The finances are the oxygen to our organization, to our company. And obviously, if we don't make money, then we take away the oxygen from our company that it needs in order to live. We take it away, it dies. We don't want that. So I would like to, well, entertain you with a little exercise, or I'd like to ask you to go into a little exercise with me that may seem a little bit third grade to you, but it actually has quite a lot of value, regardless if you run a huge corporation or if you are self-employed with no people under you at all. First of all, I'd like to arm yourself with 3 crayons, a green one, a yellow one, and a red one. And I would like you to print out your bank statements and then color everything in green that you absolutely have to pay on a monthly basis. Next, I'd like to, well, take the yellow crayon and color everything yellow that is a maybe. Maybe you have some subscriptions, you know, hiding somewhere that, well, you don't really use at all. So maybe it is time to part ways with these things that you don't really need right now. And then thirdly, the what the freak situation, the things that you keep paying on a monthly basis that you weren't even aware of that you are still paying for those. So it is probably time to cancel those contracts and to go ahead and, well, just go forward without them. And then ask yourself, how much money were you able to save? Is it 10? Is it hundreds? Is it thousands? Is it millions that you were able to save? Well, nice exercise that I'd really like to encourage you to do. Then next, our team. We have to protect our team because the team is the part of our business that gives us mobility now and especially after the crisis. Now, first of all, we want to take a look at the people that we absolutely want to keep. Those are the people that are high performance employees, the people that you can call in the middle of the night with and ask them questions or ask them for help, and that throw their help and themselves to you right now, where you can feel that they are really, really caring about what's going on in the corporation. And then secondly, the other people, and there you want to consider, how much longer will I be able to afford to pay all my other employees? And then I'd like to encourage you to also have a plan for these people and to let them go in style, so to speak. Have a plan for these people, for example, by sending them, giving them a letter of recommendation, or if you know other business people, you may want to call them and tell them, hey, I have this really good gentleman over here who's extremely good in this and that area, but unfortunately, due to the COVID crisis, I'm not able to keep him anymore. I'm pretty sure that he would be a great addition to your team. Would you be interested in getting to know him? So that we have a plan for these people too. What else do we have to protect? Well, our best customers. Those are the people that keep the business alive even now. I'm sure that most of you still have contracts with people who have been your longtime clients, and you may want to ask yourself right now, what do they need? What do they need in these difficult days, and what do they wish and long for? And once you have asked yourself that, what they need, wish, or long for, ask yourself, how do they need it or wish for it or long for it right now? These days are different. Everything right now is completely different. So I'm pretty sure that people you've had the privilege to work with for a long, long time now have completely different needs than before COVID. And then ask yourself, how can you increase your efforts in order for your customers to keep working with you even during a crisis? Because standard procedure is not enough anymore at the moment. Now, let's take a look at the areas that we should adapt, that we should pivot. First of all, let's get some clarity over what is still working. What are the areas in my business that, despite the situation, still works pretty nicely? And then again, what are the situations that are not working? For me as a martial artist, for example, I wasn't able to do group classes anymore. Neither were any of our schools. I run an organization with 78 martial arts schools in 15 countries, and none of these schools were able to provide classes anymore. So we had to become creative. And I asked all of our school owners to produce videos. We came up with a YouTube channel, and every day our students had the opportunity to take a look at classes from home. We sold an online academy with a brand new marketing strategy. So maybe it is time for you to ask yourself, what could work for you, something that maybe you never tried before? What are things that you could try? And then after all, what wouldn't work? Even if you would put a lot of work and money and effort into it, so that you know where your opportunity costs are. We have to make sure right now that we focus on these aspects of our business that would definitely work. Well, and then let's say you found a project, you found something that you think is worth communicating with your customers, then you want to make sure that you find a way to communicate it with them that is not the same way that you usually do it. It has to pivot too, because everything is different at the moment, right? So you want to make sure that when you have a product that normally is a nice to have for the customer, then these days it's only a nice to have. You know, normally nice to have things are easy to buy, but right now it's a different situation. So if you keep communicating with the same wording nowadays than you usually do, then it could be that this leads the whole thing to become irrelevant and ultimately lead to the death of your marketing campaign. So you have to find a way to communicate with them that, especially now during the COVID crisis, it is very essential for your customers to have your product and to use your services. So if you can manage to communicate to them that it's essential and you do that in a compelling way, then this will ultimately lead to the survival of your campaign and hopefully to the success of your organization. So you hit that sweet spot when your offer is both too compelling and too essential to pass. So ask yourself, how do I communicate to my customer in a compelling way that what I have to offer is essential? And now let's take a look at the attack. How can we come back strong? Well, first of all, find your project, then find your niche and go for it. Here are 3 ways of how you can define your niche. The first thing, the wide to wide arches, is somebody who sells everything to all, like Amazon does, for example. And what works for Amazon may not be the right strategy for a local business. In my case, this would mean that I teach everything that I ever learned in my whole life to anyone. Does that make me an expert? Not exactly. So I'm probably not going to be able to charge a lot of money for these things, right? The second strategy would be that I would sell one product to all, like a car salesman does, for example. Lots of cars, and he sells those cars to pretty much everybody who comes into the store. That would mean, in my case, that I would sell the martial arts to all, which would still not really make me an expert. But if you position yourself as someone who can sell one product to one specific group of people, then this will let you appear as the specialist, as the expert of this area. For example, the martial artist who teaches his classes to SWAT teams and alike, who's specialized in this area, which will also allow him to charge top dollar. Now, define one specific group you sell your product and service to is something I'd like to encourage you to do. Now, what if you say, but we're in the COVID crisis and I don't have the money right now. There's nothing I can do right now because I just don't have the funds. Well, one idea would be to be on the lookout for partners, because partners can help you to cover those areas that you can't serve yourself. What do you want to look for in a partner though? Well, first of all, it has to be somebody who already has a customer base, somebody who has a reach of people who may be interested in what you are offering. It has to be somebody who's known, liked, and trusted in his customer base. And that's probably because he delivers massive value to his customers. And then the third thing you need is you need a world-class product. And if you have that, then you should have no problem attracting those partners that you need and also tapping into their customer base in order to go forward. I had the privilege to do that. We sold our online academy and we paired it with a personal development program and with an online fitness program. And we were able to combine our customer base, and it was a huge success for us. So this is something I'd like to point out. Maybe it works for you as well. Now, let's say you found your niche, you found your project, and now we're looking for the most effective strategy to communicate this to our customer, that what we have to offer is compelling, is important to them. Ask yourself, what are the 3 biggest problems that our clients are facing at the moment? Right here, you see those 3 areas, and in the center there, you see your customer. From a martial arts point of view again, let me give you an example. Our ideal client is a parent who is affluent so that they're able to pay for our classes, that want to keep their kids bully-proof. I live in Germany right now, and the industry average for martial arts classes over here is 35 euros. There are schools that charge all the way up to 80 or 90 euros, but there are also classes that you can get for as little as 5 or 10 euros a month. Now, with my schools, we are on the high end of that scale, and we charge up to 120 bucks a month, which is not a lot of money for the US, but for Germany, it is a lot of money. And we are able to do that because we don't communicate to the parents that the kids can learn how to punch and how to kick over here, but that we remove fear, we strengthen confidence, and we dramatically improve the health and fitness level of their children. Because these are the 3 biggest problems that we found out that our members typically have. First of all, they have a lack of self-confidence, which is why they attend a martial arts class. And what do they get there? They get self-defense techniques. And the more you know that you can defend yourself, the more confident you will go into a difficult or potentially dangerous situation, obviously. We have life skills homework that our children have that help them to push through limits. And once they do, we have a rewarding system that still keeps them on track. And all of that is geared towards improving the self-confidence level the student has. Now, the second problem we defined was the problem of fear. And here too, we had a minimum of three things that we could use. First of all, we have role plays in order to, get accustomed to a potentially dangerous situation. How do you act in a situation like that? How do you react to somebody who's aggressive? Then we have a sparring. And of course, we're not just going to throw somebody who comes to class for the first time into a sparring session. We have a gradual increase in intensity so that the student gradually gets introduced into these programs. And that all of that helps to remove fear. And then the third problem that we defined was that the people are interested in having healthy children, obviously. And apparently this seems to be a challenge today. So we made sure that we put a full body workout into our classes. We have meditative aspects where we sit and we focus and we breathe, and we have stretching exercises. And all of that obviously does wonders to your health. Now, what are the things that you can do? How can you define the three biggest areas or the three biggest problems that your clients are facing? Make sure to define them and find them out so that you're able to really have clarity on what your customers are really looking for. And now it's time to maybe write down some ideas. I hope that this webinar, that I was able to give you a few ideas during this webinar, and I want you to write down the ideas that you would like to execute. Some of them we will have to execute immediately in order to catapult you forward or to get you out of trouble, and others may show up along the way and make you want to delegate, outsource, or eliminate things, people, or procedures that are not very beneficial at the moment. So write down that valuable idea that you have, and then write down the first step you want to take. What could be the first step that you want to take in that direction? And then write down the start date. When do you want to get started with this? Is it going to be today? Is it going to be next week? But make sure to really write it down and hold yourself accountable. And then also write down the projected value so that you have that emotional juice that you need in order to really go for it. And then finally ask yourself, who can help? Consult the internet. If you don't know anybody who has any experience in this area, call people that you know, write an email, send them text messages. Maybe you meet somebody in these webinars that can help you there. Well, and the last thing I'd like to do is I would like to encourage you to get a martial mindset, a martial arts mindset. The saying is continue without stopping or resting. In our context, this could mean work hard and never give up. I wish you all the success in the world. I hope this was interesting to you. And thank you so much for watching. If you should want to get in touch, here are the contact details. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll give you back to Nikki.
Thommy, thank you so much. That was fascinating. I love this concept of strengthening our martial mindset and providing the successful defense. The three P's I will not forget: protect, pivot, I guess a 2 P's
Attack.
and an A, and attack.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff, specifically given the constraints that we're living under right now. So highly relevant. Thank you so much.